Sci-Tech Writing. Hello, I am Kimberly Claire Cia Mascual, your resource speaker for this session. In this video, I am going to explain the basic way for sci-tech writing. What is science and technology writing? Science writing is the latest form of Philippine journalism. In this era of fast-moving discoveries, inventions, and technological development, science writing has become a must. As a matter of fact, it is a well-researched and well-reasoned out article that doesn't only deal with the whats and hows of a topic, but also its whys. Let's differentiate science writing and scientific writing based on this table. From the source, science writing, the sources comes from the scientific writers, while in scientific writing, the sources comes from scientists, researchers. The message, summary of findings, outcomes, and research. On the other hand, the specific details of research from problem. Or through channel, science writing publish their articles or story in newspaper, radio, or television. On the other hand, scientific writing publish there's in the scientific journals and research paper. The audience for science writing, or you may say sci-tech writing, are for the public. On the other hand, the scientific writing, the audience of which is the scientists and its peers. As you can see, from this picture, here is a good representation in the importance of sci-tech writing. Sci-tech writing bridges scientists and public. The aim of a sci-tech writer is to render the very detailed, specific, and often jargon-laden information produced by scientists into a form that a non-scientist can understand and appreciate, while still communicating the information accurately. In short, as a sci-tech writer, the article or story you write can be understood even by a kindergarten. Let us say you have to read the following. I'll give you time to read. Too wordy, right? Even myself, I'll skip it if I saw this article. How about this one? Easy, right? The headline and the lead alone gives you the gist of the story. What do you think is the headline from this slide? The headline is swine deaths, while the lead is here. 40 patay na baboy na naanod sa Marikina River na ilibing na. As you can see, the article from earlier and from this one are the same. The beauty of sci-tech writing helps people to easily understand the story based from the published article from the scientists, which we all know that most of the articles are too wordy and has too many jargons used. That is why it is hard to some people to fully understand it. As Dodi says, a renowned journalist in Tacloban, not because you are very good in scientific terminologies, you'll be a great science and technology writer. So how to write a science and technology? First, Choose your topic and length carefully. Have a plan. Come back to the intro again and again and again. Next, choose your structure carefully. Know what you are trying to say. Get your facts straight. Cite resources that establish credibility, assure accuracy, source authority, and data verifiability. Next, change the pace. And lastly, write a conclusion that draws a lasting impression. So here is the outline of a science story. Title, introductory lead, knot graph, body, conclusion, and call to action. Now let's have the title. In title, you must write a catchy title. Usually, in writing a title, the maximum is 6 words. For example, you want the topic of dengue. In making a title, make sure your title is catchy, just like this one, Surviving the Devil's Disease. Devil. Dengue is devil disease from the author's point of view. The title alone is catchy, so some readers might read the article or the story. Next, we have the introductory lead. In introductory lead, there are different kinds of lead. First, by using striking figures, directly talk to the readers, create scenarios, and combine a scenario and rhetorical question. For example, an introductory lead that uses striking figures. 12. That is the number of minutes it takes smoking to kill 1 people. Over 1 billion. That is the number of smokers around the world. 2 billion. That is what tobacco companies spend in the US alone to ensure the next generation gets hooked. The striking figures from the articles are those numbers. Numbers alone will hook the readers from reading the lead. Next, we'll have another example is by directly talking to the readers. For example, so you think you're safe? Maybe, but chances are you might be sent to the ICU tomorrow. The introductory lead itself is having a conversation as if one-on-one. Next, let's have by creating scenarios. Imagine the clothes inside a washing machine at full speed. That's what would happen to you when you're hit by a super typhoon. The lead itself is creating a scenarios. Last one, by combining a scenario and rhetorical question. Imagine spiking fear, searing muscle and joint pain, blood seeping through the skin and shock and possible death. The severest form of dengue fever can inflict unspeakable misery. Tragic, isn't it? The rhetorical question. What will it take to stop an old disease with a new vengeance? Combine the scenario and the rhetorical question, just like this one. Now let's have the knot graph. So in knot graph, there are two kinds of knot graph. By connecting the introduction to your given topic, while the other is present the main point of the article. Let's have an example. An example of knot graph by connecting the introduction to your given topic. From this example, we all know that the rains come as a relief for parched farmlands and an end to fears of water rationing in crowded city. That's the lead. And the nut graph, but with rains, the nut graphs connect the introduction to the given topic. Next, we have another nut graph by presenting the main point of the article. You may read silently. Just remember that lead and nut graph always go hand in hand. Nut graph bridges your lead and the body. Now we have the body. Have a simple sentence to introduce the body and present the symptoms, cure or solutions, prevention measures, tips, and other essential infos. For example, just like this one. Survive the dengue fever outbreak like a boss through these simple prevention measures. Minimize outdoor activities, so on and so on. Wear protective clothing, include the info and details. That is how you write the body. Now, the conclusion. In conclusion, you will present your opinion or impression on the issue. For example, prevention is better than cure, and in the case of dengue, prevention is the only cure. If you want to survive dengue fever like a boss, it is no doubt that prevention is the best way to live through the outbreak. So that is the conclusion. And lastly, we have call to action. In call to action, you ask the reader to act or respond accordingly. For example, okay, you may read it. Just remember that call to action is not mandatory as long as the article itself does not need it. Make sure if you're writing the story or an article, call to action, ask yourself if you need that. Okay? Now we'll try dissecting a sample. So what is this? Based from the picture alone, what can you see from this picture? So you can see warehouse, factories, trees, and something. What do you think? So here is the story behind the picture. You may read silently. Then, as a scientific writer, you will translate the article earlier in order for the people or the reader to understand. Just like this one. Acid rains. Read silently. Now, to interpret it further, or to make it the article or the story more interesting, you can write just like this one, an introductory lead. What goes up must come down. When it pours, it soars. Well, so let's try using all of those. Just like this one, an introductory lead based from the picture and the article. What goes up must come down. This is the lesson that can be learned even just before the water from the sky pours down. Man should beware and stop the bad gas emissions practices that can pollute the air. In a rain cycle like spinning wheel, whatever is behind the dark clouds can be deadly when it is tainted with poison called the acid rain. So this article is his introductory lead. And this is the body. Why the acid rain? You will input the information and details in order to have a fully developed body. Next, And lastly, by drawing a conclusion. Here are the things that must be avoided in sci-tech writing. First is incomprehensible accuracy. The story alone is incomprehensible because the writer used too many jargons and unfamiliar words that leads readers to not understand the story. Yes, the story is accurate, but most people will not appreciate it. While on the other hand, the second one is comprehensible inaccuracy. The story can be easily understood, but the data or the information given was inaccurate, which is a no-no in sci-tech writing. Thus, in writing sci-tech, it must be incomprehensible accuracy. It must be easily understood and has accurate data and information. Now let's have the workshop. Write a headline and introductory lead. Send it to my messenger. The theme is COVID vaccination. Here's the theme. So good luck!